Greetings, everyone. This is Inner Truth 5. Welcome to Spiritual Science. This is the last part of the series of Animals and Religion, and this one is going to be ending with Judaism and vegetarianism and a little bit of Islam. All right, so this one here is by Ted Altar. It is interesting to note that legislation was once introduced by Mordechai ben Porat in the Israeli Knesset parliament, proposing to outlaw meat eating. Can you imagine any other country that had enough political support to venture such a bold proposal? Unfortunately, the legislation did not pass. Unfortunate because this would indeed have been an interesting social experiment, and Israel could indeed stand head and shoulders above all nations in its respect towards animals. The recent chief rabbi of Israel, Shlomo Goren, is a strict vegetarian, and so was the first chief rabbi of the modern state of Israel, Abraham Isaac Kook. Cook's successor, the late Isaac Havlevi Herzog, wrote, Jews will move increasingly to vegetarianism out of their own deepening knowledge of what their tradition commands. Man's carnivorous nature is not taken for granted or praised in the fundamental teachings of Judaism. A whole galaxy of central rabbinic and spiritual leaders has been affirming vegetarianism as the ultimate meaning of Jewish moral teaching. There are several Jewish organizations currently working to promote vegetarianism. The International Jewish Vegetarian Society publishes a 5-page quarterly called The Jewish Vegetarian and has offices or chapters worldwide, including the US, Canada, Australia, Britain, Israel, etc. There is also the Jewish Vegetarians in Baltimore who say, we feel ourselves to be part of an ancient people and a living tradition, one whose ethical principles we believe point towards vegetarianism. Roberta Kalefkowski, head of Micah Publications and Jews for Animal Rights in Marblehead, Massachusetts, publishes various works on Judaism and animal welfare. Among these is her Haggadah for the Liberated Lamb, which serves as a guide for a vegetarian Passover Seder that celebrates compassion for all creatures. Here are just a few more interesting statements and quotes from the Jewish tradition that are of relevance here. According to Rabbi Sidney Jacobs, author of the Jewish Word Book, the bottom line is that there can be no humane procedure when slaughter is involved, nor can factory farming ever be made merciful. Ironically, the dilemma of Jewish ritual slaughter could be resolved by switching to a grain-based diet set forth in Genesis. From A Jewish Voice for Animals, published in The Animal's Voice, 1989. From the 9 Questions People Ask About Judaism by Dennis Prager and Rabbi Taloshkin. Keeping kosher is Judaism's compromise with its ideal vegetarianism. Ideally, according to Judaism, man would confine his eating to fruits and vegetables and not kill animals for food. According to Rabbi Simon Glazer's Guide to Judaism, it appears that the first intention of the Maker was to have men live on a strictly vegetarian diet. The very earliest periods of Jewish history are marked with humanitarian conduct towards the lower animal kingdom. It is clearly established that the ancient Hebrews knew and perhaps were among the first men to know that animals feel pain and suffer pain. From the Encyclopedia Judaica, according to rabbinic tradition, interpreting the biblical record, mankind was not allowed to eat meat until after the flood, Once permitted, the consumption of meat remains surrounded with many restrictions. According to the rabbis, the Hebrew word for desireth in the verse, "When the Lord thy God shall enlarge thy border, and thou shalt say, I will eat flesh because thy soul desireth to eat flesh," has a negative connotation. Hence, although it is permitted to slaughter animals for food, this should be done in moderation. According to the Encyclopedia Judaica, 1974, moral and legal rules condemning the treatment of animals are based on the principle that animals are part of God's creation towards which man bears responsibility. Laws make it clear not only that cruelty to animals is forbidden, but also that compassion and mercy to them are demanded by God. In later rabbinic literature, great prominence is also given to demonstrating God's mercy to animals and to the importance of not causing them pain. The principles of kindness to animals is as though God's treatment of man will be according to people's treatment of animals. Yes. According to the Universal Jewish Encyclopedia, 1939, the Jewish attitude towards animals has always been governed by the consideration that they too are God's creatures, and obligation to respect and consider the feelings and needs of these lower creatures. The non-canonical writings strongly urge kindness towards animals, declaring that one who harms an animal harms his own soul. According to Professor Richard Schwartz, author of Judaism and Vegetarianism, in Judaism, one who does not treat animals with compassion cannot be regarded as a righteous individual. From Judaism and Animal Rights. According to the Code of Jewish Law, it is forbidden, according to the law of the Torah, to inflict pain upon any living creature. On the contrary, it is our duty to relieve the pain of any creature, even if it is ownerless or belongs to a non-Jew. According to the medieval Hebrew work Sefer Chassidim, be kind and compassionate to all creatures, that the Holy One, blessed be He, created in this world, never beats nor inflict pain on any animal, beast, bird, or insect. Do not throw stones at a dog or a cat, nor kill flies or wasps. Now that is wonderful. It's saying not even kill flies or wasps. So what to speak of these larger animals that people are slaughtering? Okay, now I'm going to switch to Feasts of the Prophet, Ramadan and Vegetarianism in Islam by Julian Bainot. During the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, Muslims worldwide celebrate the major holy day of their religion, Ramadan. Occurring around January, Ramadan marks the period when the religion's founder, the Prophet Muhammad, received the holy words from Allah, God, and put them down into the Quran in the 7th century AD. During this period, adult Muslims must fast from dawn until dusk for 29 to 30 days to stir universal compassion and spiritual renewal for all. According to scholars, the Prophet Muhammad, although not a vegetarian, did prefer to eat vegetarian foods and had a great love and compassion for animals. His favorite foods consisted of yogurt with butter or nuts, cucumbers with dates, pomegranates, grapes, and figs. He was known to have quoted, "Where there is an abundance of vegetables, a host of angels will descend on that place." Like most of the world's religions, except Jainism, modern Islam does not fully support vegetarianism, although certain Muslim sects, such as the Shiites and Sufis, have vegetarian followers. Throughout the African, Middle Eastern, and Southeast Asian parts of the Islamic world, meat is a rarity. making vegetarianism a necessity and not a choice. During Ramadan, Muslims begin the day with a pre-dawn meal, sehri, of porridge, bread, or fruit. When sundown approaches, they slowly break their fast with something simple like bread and cheese or fruit, followed by a big dusk meal, iftar, like a hearty soup or stew. When the new moon is sighted, Ramadan ends in a huge feast for family and friends lasting for several days called Eidul Fitr. And following, there are listed some different tasty dishes that are served during or after Ramadan from various countries. So one of these is called jerry. It's a popular vegetarian soup from Algeria. Another one called demjedra is a Palestinian lentil and rice dish. Nice recipes. I'll leave the link to this so you can see these recipes here. Another one is spiced potato and cauliflower. This is a Pakistani side dish, usually served with rice or flatbreads. And this content is from the Pakistan Vegetarian Society. Alright, so I will drop the link to this and you guys can look this over. And therefore, I have shared with you much information about how animals are regarded in various religions and vegetarianism within religions. So, my next series coming up is going to be an introduction to Buddhism. That will be coming up later this week, so stay tuned for that. I have a lot more coming on this channel. This channel is focused on spirituality, truth, absolute truth about spirituality, who we are, what is our existence in this world, what is this world, this cosmic manifestation, religion, God, spirit, soul, and it's also focusing in on our righteous duty as human beings to take care of the animal kingdom and be kind and compassionate towards animals. This is also a very huge part of my focus of this channel, to show the spiritual truth of humanity's duty to protect animal life. In the most simplest form is to adopt a vegetarian diet. All right, thank you very much for listening, and you all have a beautiful, blessed day.